Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is Transfers Live. Joining me, as always, is my smartly dressed friend, Joe Smith.
It's been 26 degrees in the UK.
Is that hot?
Oh,
I know it's hot when I go outside, like
you won't
26
believe it.
degrees. Is that?
Not, it depends where you are in the world. There's a lot of places that'll be scoffing.
If you're in
at
Ecuador, would that be hot?
No. But here it is.
What
So
about if you're in Arkansas?
It could be quite hot, yeah.
New Mexico?
Probably less hot.
Okay.
That'd be quite pleasant.
Last one, Corfu.
Corfu, yeah, it's not hot there.
Right, okay, fine.
But it is here.
Sorry, I'll continue.
What are we talking about today?
We've got loads of stories to get through. Before we get into it all, though, make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. Look, you can see our subscribers have gone through, smashed through that 750,000 mark. Let's get to 800,000. Yes. And don't forget to hit that like button as well. We're going to be talking about the man on the thumbnail, Mason Greenwood. Yeah. Yet again, we find ourselves in this conundrum. What is happening with Mason Greenwood? So we'll see what Disco Dave McDonald has been saying in the Mirror. He's been sort of trying to clarify what the next step may be, because it's still up in the air, innit? Mason Greenwood, he's still a Manchester United player. He don't know if he's going back to Getafe, someone else coming in for him. So we'll get into all that. We'll also be talking about Jean-Claire Todibo. It looks like there could be some legal...
The United have supposedly hired a lawyer, like we ain't got enough lawyers. Surely,
why are we
if we
hiring
need a lawyer,
lawyers?
we've got one.
Yeah, why don't we just hire some players?
Yeah, surely we might have an expert in, I don't know, football law already knocking about at Man United.
So just do what I used to do, just get legal aid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They'll always give you a lawyer. Just sell a solicitor, just say, look, I ain't got one, can you sort me one? I mean, you might have to wait a bit in the cells, but you get one eventually.
You get one eventually.
Do you know what I mean?
Ratcliffe, he can spend a couple of months in jail, surely.
I'm sure he'll be all right. I'll give him something to do. So we'll get into that as well. Also, talking of Ratcliffe, looks like the honeymoon period may be well and truly over with Jimmy Boy, as I like to call him. What's this about? Ticket prices could be going up, and they could be calling Old Trafford the Aldi Arena.
I think you've come up with that name yourself, but potential.
Well, we can but hope.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. Also, Marcus Rashford, PSG dialogue has taken place supposedly, so we'll get into that as well. Should we start off with that? Actually, I think we should start off with that. And just to be clear, it's producer Adam on today, so these are Adam's puns, and this is, I think, the first time he's ever had the reins by himself. So let's see what he does with what's in front of him. Ready, steady, cook style. You've got your ingredients. What has he made of it? Marcus Rashford, let's get into it.
How do you think he's going to get on?
I think it could be one of the worst performances of all time.
See, I'm going to go the other way. I have faith in him.
Love that. Oh, so it clicked then. Did you hear that?
Yeah, you'll be
my hand went all fizzy. Can we get the first story going? Because I think I might need to go to A&E. Catalan, a move for Rashford.
Yes.
Right, we fucked it.
Catalan, a move for Rashford. What?
He's immediately fucked it, Jay.
What? Hang on a minute. Whoa, just stop a minute. Catalan, a move.
You know something? 20 minutes ago, he said to me,
for Rashford.
What pun can I do for Barcelona?
Barcelona?
That's it! What does that even mean? Like, care to land a move, or just going to land a move?
It's open to your interpretation.
It's open to our interpretation, like all good puns. Catalan a move for Barcelona. For Rashford.
Wait, well, where's the...
Right, you've made a good point.
What's the Barcelona reference anyway?
That's a very good point.
Why is Barcelona coming into it?
Oh.
It's PSG in Nana. It's the other one. Yeah. Oh yeah, the other club in the world. There's only two.
Oh god.
It was either Barcelona or PSG, and I went with the wrong one. Oh my god, you couldn't have done worse if you tried.
This is an
right. This honestly, right? This is genuinely the worst debut since Patrice Evra against Manchester City in 2005. It is absolutely horrendous.
Let's just all take a minute. There's still a good story to be had.
Was it 2006?
I think it started later than that.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
There still could be a good story here, and he could still overcome it. Sometimes your first touch of a new club, the first game, the ball comes to you. Oh, it's gone under his foot, but that doesn't mean that he's going to have a bad career.
No, because we just need to address this though, right?
Yeah.
Because for starters, that punt, even if he was going to Barcelona, is terrible.
Woeful.
Catalan, a move. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? What's that a pun on? It's like you've gone, what's Barcelona, Catalonia, right, just put a Catalan, put a D on the end of it and put Rashford, right? So that makes zero sense.
Yeah.
And then the worst part of this whole diabolical episode is the fact that Barcelona have got nothing to do with this story whatsoever.
It's a pun on the wrong club, isn't it?
Yeah.
Simply put. Right, let's get into it anyway. There have been more discussions between, you guessed it, PSG and Manchester United about Marcus Rashford. Several players were discussed between United and PSG during informal discussions regarding Manuel Ugarte. Amongst those players was Marcus Rashford. There he is on the left.
At least you got that bit right.
Shortly before Rashford signed a new deal at United, PSG held another meeting with the Rashford camp during which they felt they were being used for leverage so Rashford could complete his new long-term deal at United. All indications since then are that Rashford is committed to Manchester United. PSG feel that they need to monitor the situation, but Rashford's camp would have to approach them first. And that's from Ben Jacobs. And the reason we put this in, even though it's basically, I wouldn't say it's a non-story. The story is he ain't going anywhere. But I think it's worth telling that story because these rumours fly around. You just see one line of it quoted and you think, oh, maybe the discussions were that he's going to go to PSG, when actually it looks like the discussions were he isn't going to go to PSG. So there you go. It looks as though Marcus Rashford, certainly as of right now, isn't going to PSG. Your thoughts?
I am still trying to get over this point. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah. It's actually not me for 6. There's always been these rumours, hasn't there, that he was going to go to PSG, that they like him. Going back to the Thomas Tuchel days, and obviously his performances against PSG in the Champions League were very good. Yep. Scored a couple of big goals against them. That seemed to sort of amplify their interest. It does seem to have died down a little bit. Everyone seems to think that like there's this magic wand you can wave where if you want 80 million quid for Marcus Rashford, we can just sell him to PSG like that, and that he's their sort of designated replacement for Kylian Mbappe. I don't think he is. I don't think they want him. I don't think they're looking at him. And I don't think Manchester United are looking to sell him, and I don't think he wants to go. I think the only sort of rumours we get, I think the rumours we get is if someone came in with a huge offer for Marcus, United would be open to it. Yeah. But I don't think PSG are going to do that. I don't think they're particularly keen on him. I don't think he's particularly keen on a move. So it just feels like a bit of a non-story. I get why Ben Jacobs has addressed it because,
if like you said, those discussions,
like it's worth talking about. And obviously, Manuel Ugarte is on our radar, and there's a bid that's gone in there, according to Ben Jacobs as well. So I get it. Why you're going to say, well, what about Marcus Rashford? But it does. I don't think this is going to happen. And I know I'm in the minority, and I know most United fans have turned against Marcus Rashford. But I don't think we need to be selling Marcus Rashford anyway. I think we've got other issues, and I think that the fact you spent 200 million quid on right wingers and we haven't got that right. The grass isn't always greener. It isn't. That's my opinion. You may disagree. We'll get into some
of the comments.
We'll get into some of the comments, and then we'll come back to you, my brother. Yeah. Whitterbird Vicky has been a member of the academy for 17 months. Says seriously moral issues. I think we'll talk about Mason Greenwood there. We'll get into that in a minute. There's always going to be moral issues when it comes to Mason Greenwood. We know it's not about the football side of things. If it was, he'd be playing for Manchester United. It's that simple, but it ain't. Ben DPB has been a member of the academy for 3 months, says if you still support Greenwood for United despite the audio and pictures, you need to reevaluate your morals. That seems to be a sort of growing theme. Obviously, you addressed it very well, Joe, at the time. Whatever, Vicky's gifted a Paddock membership. We appreciate that, Vicky. You're always supporting the channel. Much appreciated. Abhinav Verma said there's Sorry, let's slow down.
Slow it down a bit.
I know, I've got a bit giddy there. I think I'm still recovering from the amazement of that pun. Abhinav Verma says there's serious scope of combining Freemason with some Illuminati conspiracy shit, lads. Just saying, I don't know what any of that means, and I can't really bother. No disrespect, I can't really be bothered getting into that. Whitterbird Vicky is also gifted another Stretford Paddock membership. Thank you.
That's great.
Also, it's not just about super chats and the gifts. We'll talk to everyone. Alex Jones says, yo, Jay, I seen you on the tram before, didn't want to make a scene, but love, you can always approach me on the tram, it's not an issue.
No, he was going to make a real scene.
Was he going to say, you, spouting your nonsense, and you can tell that Adam, who's on puns, he won't sack him. He's been quite clever though tonight, Adam.
Why?
Because he knows he's the only producer here. We ain't sacking him at midstream.
We can't sack him on the spot, which is annoying, because that's my favourite thing to do.
I know.
There's nothing better than sacking someone on the spot. Sacking someone later on is one thing. Sacking them on the spot, the best thing in the world. There's no power like it.
And people wonder why you haven't seen Adam McCall on the channel for a little while.
On the spot he was gone.
Joe got rid of him like that. Yeah.
Right.
I think you might be the only person, not in the world, but certainly in this room, that loves Marcus probably a little bit more than I do. You're dead against getting rid of him as well, aren't you?
I don't see the point, yeah.
Yeah.
We like, I know people always say we're so far down the list of what we need to sort, but he just is. And also, the fact that he's an academy player, the fact that he's played so many games for United, 300-odd games for us, 100-odd goals, this isn't just a decision you need to take lightly. we've got a lot of issues that need fixing. If he was the last problem to fix, assuming you want to call him a problem, if he was having a bad season, a bad time at United, and everything else was firing, maybe he could push you over the edge, bringing someone else in. But I think him at his best, there's been plenty of worse players than Marcus Rashford at his best, winning big trophies season after season. Like, go through, our rivals even. I think he's a better player than Doku. I think he's a better player than Jack Grealish. I think he's a far better player than Martinelli. I think he's better than anything Chelsea have got on that side. I think maybe, obviously, Heung-min Son, you could probably make that argument, but they sort of seem to flip who's having the better season. Son has a bad year, Rashford has a good one, flip back and forth. I wouldn't even swap him for him. Like you said, the grass always seems a little bit greener, but realistically, there's a lot of teams struggling for a player as good as Marcus Rashford. So, for me, there's no point.
One thing I would say, Rio Ferdinand, when he was doing his keep or sell thing, made a decent point. He's like, I'd sit down with him and chat with him.
Yeah.
What's going on? We know everything's not great with you. You don't seem happy. Talk to us. Are you happy at this football club?
What's
Do you,
happening?
you know what I mean? Do you want to, you've just signed this new deal a year ago, bumper deal. Do you want to commit to that? Or are you looking for an exit, a way out? If you are looking for a way out, then we can have conversations. But from all the reports, he ain't, so we're not. Yeah. Also, Daniel Monk says, maybe Marcus wants to go to Barcelona. Has anyone asked? If that case, then it's still a crap pun. Let's move on. Let's talk about Mason Greenwood.
Chance for redemption here. I mean, but,
it's a bit of a funny one, isn't it? Not out of the Greenwoods yet.
You know what? He's played it well there.
He's played it safe.
We don't want to get too straight back down, hasn't he?
Yeah, because
we don't want to get too excited.
It's a slightly distasteful topic anyway. We talk about Mason Greenwood. There's a fly buzzing around me, so you don't want to be all like, giddy and funny. And
I told
this is
you.
Great.
Sorry,
what was that?
That fly.
What was that accent you were doing?
I told you.
I told you. What's that?
I didn't say that.
You
I
did.
told you.
Was that your normal accent?
That's how I talk.
All right, you went very Yorkshire.
When I get angry, I go. My original accent comes out a bit more.
Right. Okay.
Sorry, that fly has been bothering me for weeks.
Has it?
So, years, to be honest.
Years. I hate
Every
that.
so often, it just comes and flies into my face.
Oh,
it's been doing it since I was a kid.
It makes me so angry. United are preparing to reintegrate Mason Greenwood back into the squad during pre-season as attempts for a sale continue to be made.
Yeah.
Go on,
United will allow Greenwood back into the squad if a sale is not made within the fortnight, with no club yet meeting their £40 million asking price. If he remains under contract, the forward would be eligible to report back for pre-season training with the rest of the squad. United are due back for training on July the 8th. They also say in this article how the backlash that United may face if that was to happen. Because let's not forget, up until the point where he went on loan to Getafe, he was suspended from Manchester United. He wasn't involved in training, he wasn't coming into Carrington, he essentially ceased to be a player at Manchester United. He was still under contract, he still had that deal, but he was sat at home not training with Manchester United. This would be obviously a step, sort of the only real step so far back towards him being a United player, which a lot of people obviously, and it doesn't say in this article that he's going to stay, and that it does say that United are keen to sell him, but him coming back to training is something that needs addressing one way or another, isn't it? It
is, and I can't believe how badly United have handled all this. I'm not going to lie to you. No. Obviously, it was a horrible situation anyway. Let's not pretend it wasn't. But we talk about this a lot when we talk about Mason Greenwood, but it's what happened, so we'll talk about it again. The statements that the club put out, that Richard Arnold put out, that Mason Greenwood himself put out, that was obviously written for him or written on his behalf, and the club must have signed off on it because they released it, were terrible. They weren't even correct. I think some of the legal terminology was wrong. And also the bullet pointing part of Richard Arnold's statement was just so egregious I can't even get my head around it.
It made it sort of strangely alluded to this idea that we've seen more evidence than is publicly available, and based on that, we don't think he's guilty. That is a bizarre thing to say, especially if you aren't going to provide that evidence to the public, and you're not going to... It read as though it was going to build up to say he's coming back, and that it was changed at the last minute. Do you know, like a match report, you know, a journalist is typing it because it has to be printed or sent to the printers, bang on full time. So 90% of the match report reads as though United have lost 2 last-minute goals, and all of a sudden we've won. It's all negative. It all feels... This was like almost sort of pro-Greenwood, or certainly it's not what you think. The situation's got a bit more going on than you've been led to believe, but he's not coming back. Which it was all weird, wasn't it? The whole thing was bizarre and in bad taste, I think.
I've got to choose my words carefully here. So I'll say it. I'll try and keep it as simple as I can, right? Either Manchester United think Mason Greenwood has done absolutely nothing wrong. And if that is the case, if they think he has done nothing wrong, then there's no reason why they shouldn't bring him back into the club. Because he's done nothing wrong. If they think he has done something wrong, that's why he's not coming back into the club, then they should just release him.
Yeah.
Forget your 40 million quid. Like, if you think he's not coming back to school, you can't have him back at this football club because he's done something that is so terrible he can no longer be a Manchester United player, then write off your 40 million quid, sorry. It's that simple to me. Those are your two options. Stop kicking it down the road and going, we'll just give him Getafe for another year. Why? In a year, has what he done gone away? No. If you think he's done something wrong. And if he hasn't done anything wrong, then you bring him back.
Yeah.
So this whole, we're holding out for 40 million quid. I get it, because it's a lot of money. But if you think he's done something wrong that makes him unable to play for Manchester United, then write off your 40 million quid. I don't give a fucking sauce. Yeah. If you don't think he's done anything wrong, and you've got to say it with your chest out, you haven't done anything wrong, so I'm back at the club, then do that then, if that's what you think. But don't just do this, which is neither.
It's like they're going, well, we've seen stuff that makes us believe that it's not all as it seems, but because you lot don't want him back, we'll sort of try and get a bit of money from him and get rid of him that way. Yeah. It is a very weird line that we seem to have taken.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just, they've designed a way to upset everyone, no matter what stance you're taking on this.
Yeah.
Leave the player in limbo. I know that there might be some people out there that don't care and don't have any sympathy for him, but he's still a Manchester United player, so the club have a duty of care to their staff, and he is a member of their staff. Whether you like it or not, he is. So they have to, you might want to go on me at this point, bro. Doing well here, kid. Keep going. Like, you have a duty of care to him because he's still a member of your staff, regardless of whether people like that or not. He is a Manchester United player, so you've got to sort of look after him, for want of a better expression. So either release him and go, look, he's gone, and we write off that 40 million quid, or bring him back. Yeah. If you're obviously trying to get rid of him and no one will pay the money that you want for him, you just need to walk away because it's just getting silly now and it's getting embarrassing. And what's going to happen if no one comes in for him then? He's going to have to come on pre-season. Yeah. That's like, what are you going to do? Just not take it?
Suspend him again?
And how does that work? Yeah. How do you justify that? You went, well, he was fine to go and play for Getafe. We're happy to take their money off him, but he's not coming back here. Doesn't make any sense. So write off your 40 million quid. Let's face facts, United wasted a lot more than 40 million quid, if you can even call it wasted. Or you bring him back and face the music and you say it with your chest out and say, look, we're bringing him back because we think he's done nothing wrong. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying they should do that, by the way. I'm saying, or they should bring him back, by the way. I'm saying those are the two options. Release him or bring him back. Stop all this nonsense of this. We're no closer to a resolution than we were 18 months ago.
What was it? More like 3 years ago now. 2.5 years?
It's just dumb, man. And it makes the club look stupid and also morally questionable. Yeah. Because this is all about morals, and it's not about his footballing ability. No. It's about morals.
And there is something a little bit odd about the whole, like, he would be worth more than this if what has happened hadn't happened. So what value are we putting on what he's done as a negative to his
I mean,
worth? All of that is an odd thing anyway to me.
I'll be honest with you, I don't hold out much hope that Manchester United will survey off 40 million quid under Ineos when, from what I gather, even like, staff trips to Wembley were cancelled and all sorts of things were like, well, we can't afford that anymore. So I'd be very surprised if we were about to do what I just suggested, but I think that would be the right thing to do, one way or the other. Akash K says, Man United are petrified to sell Mason Greenwood in case he scores bags of goals elsewhere, and he will do. As a club, we just need to accept that reality. Great show. He will score lots of goals. He will. He is a natural goal scorer. Like, he's one of the most naturally gifted footballers I've ever seen. And he scored goals at every level he's been at, and he was banging them in when he was a teenager at Manchester United. He's had an okay season at Getafe. I think he's 10 goals and 6 assists in 36 games. He's not exactly set the world alight, but a big part of that was his sort of getting back to full fitness and all the rest of it. He's going to score lots of goals. United just have to accept that. It's just, that's the way it is. It's not, you can't have it both ways. And FOMO isn't a reason to keep him. Sorry.
No, I agree.
Let's, hang on a minute. Right, sorry, I was confused then. Let's move on, man.
Yeah, what we got next?
I wish United would just deal with this situation.
Pseudo Jim. What's that about?
Pseudonym.
Ah, that's actually, you know what? I actually really like that.
Even though you needed it explaining to you?
Yeah. You know what? Even though I needed it explained to me, I think that's pretty good. Because pseudonym is like another name for.
I
Old
know what
Trafford.
fucking pseudonym is. I just told you the pun.
No, but just because you know what the word is doesn't mean you get it. You don't get
guy,
it.
man.
Jay don't get it.
This guy.
I didn't get it, but now you don't get it, which is weird. So Ineos will
6
consider
GCSEs.
selling the naming rights to Old Trafford. That's how many. That's how many you bought in the end, was it?
What,
You
6
said- I saw you looking at them on eBay.
Yeah. O levels, as they were called in my day.
So, let's just get into this. Ineos will consider selling naming rights to Old Trafford to raise funds to help with the redevelopment of the ground or a new build. I really like Pseudogym the more I see it, the more I read it.
Pseudonym, yeah.
Pseudocrem.
It does sound like some
It's a
sort
put
of...
on pseudocrem, that's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
Because as
It
you get a
sounds
little
like
bit
something you
older,
put on your knobby styles.
Jim Ratcliffe is seeking to drive up revenues to fund the project, while the club is also deliberating over substantial ticket price raises. United have also held exploratory talks with major financial institutions, including Bank of America, as they explore a series of funding options to raise the capital required to cover a potentially multi-billion-pound proj. Pseudogym. We may be getting a new named Old Trafford. Your thoughts, Jay? You walk into Old Trafford,
Yeah.
you get off the tram, let's say, you're coming from Media City side, you get off the tram, you're walking up, you see it there, over the bridge, Butlin's Old Trafford. What are you thinking?
I know, right? I know I'm swimming against the tide on this one.
Heinz Old Trafford.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't, and like, I know it's like not on brand for me because it's like, oh Jay, come on, you got Old Trafford since you were 5, you one of them, like, you don't care about the ground. We're still going to call it Old Trafford, aren't we? And I just want a stadium that doesn't leak and bits of concrete don't fall on my head. And if I want to sit down at our time, I can sit down without squashing my legs when I'm only 5'11" anyway.
Yeah.
Like that'd be nice. So if they want to slap a branding on it, do it. Like the Allianz, I keep going back to it, but the Allianz Arena is the Allianz Arena. No one gives a toss. It's not ruined football for Bayern Munich.
No.
Like, it's the way of the world, isn't it? I can stomach it. If it's going to make a nice new stadium and it has a name on it, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't. What about you?
I don't want it to just be called Ineos Arena. If it's called like Ineos Old Trafford,
Yeah.
I can live with that because that way we'd still call it Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Whereas eventually, when the words Old Trafford aren't even in the title at all, at first people still call it Old Trafford because that's what you do. But no one calls the.
He's not going to call it Ineos though, is he?
Why?
If they sell the naming rights, surely they won't sell them to themselves.
Well, they could, like City have. City have sold the naming rights.
Hey, it's like,
Haven't they?
City have sold a lot of things to other companies.
So let's just.
All
let's
right,
pick
they
a
might do,
different-
but I thought they were going to sell it to like
Let's say Boeing or whatever.
Oh,
Just
wow.
pick a company.
Boeing.
So it's called Boeing Old Trafford.
Yeah.
That I can get behind. And not get behind, but I can stomach because we still call it Old Trafford between fans.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's just called the Boeing Arena or the Boeing Stadium,
Yeah.
people don't call the Emirates Highbury anymore.
Yeah.
People don't call the Etihad Main Road. People don't call the Allianz Arena whatever their stadium used to be called. They call it the brand name.
Do you remember when City were naming one of their stands and they had a poll, didn't they, what they could name it?
Yeah.
And then they kicked off because they said that loads of United fans were voting to name it after Colin Bell, so it'd be called the Bell End. Do you remember that? And I was just like puerile humour. Yeah. Like there was all that sort of kick-off, wasn't there? And it was like, I was like,
but he's
what
one
is
of their
happening?
best
Yeah,
players, so surely,
he is literally like one of their legends.
Yeah.
I think they've got a statue of him there. And when I was growing up, Colin Bell was the guy that they all went on about. So yeah, but they were accusing United fans of gate crashing it.
So like the Spotify Nou Camp, we're all still calling it the Nou Camp.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was just called the Spotify Arena, eventually a new generation of fans comes through who no longer remember it being called Old Trafford, and you start just calling it the Boeing Arena.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I'd rather it just be called Old Trafford, whatever the new one's called. But if you have to do it, don't get rid of Old Trafford as well. Have it alongside it. If it's going to make us another 500 million quid.
Do you have any worries
Get it.
about old Jimbo?
I've got a few reservations. Yeah. It's quite a hard line, isn't it? It's quite strict.
Like, there's a few things, like, I seen an interview with him where I thought I didn't really like anything he said. And then there was...
A little bit Brexit.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, you know me, I don't like to get political, so
Yeah.
I was able to ignore that. But I was like, right, okay, then you're not really on my side of the street when it comes to politics, shall we say? But I can live with that as long as you want the best for Manchester United Football Club. Then you hear a few things like women's team, don't worry about that, forget that. Yeah. You think, all right, well that seems a bit.
You're lucky to have porta cabins.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Haven't we just built them a new training area?
The lads are going to use that. Yeah. The first team are going to use that, and the first team and the other team can use that. So the women,
the proper team,
basically. Like the proper team.
It's all a little bit like
okay, that's not great.
Traditional values.
And it's like a little bit like certain things are going on, and you're like, hang on a minute, and it's like, oh, by the way, we might put your season ticket prices up, I should say, and we might be renaming Old Trafford something else, for a brand deal. You're like, okay. I'm not saying. I know I said I wasn't that bothered, but it's not great, is it? It's not like I like that. I want it to happen.
A sequence of ideal scenarios.
I think he's got an advantage in the fact that I preferred Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos to Sheikh Jassim.
Yeah.
And being state-owned or sports washing and all the rest of it. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that he's ace.
Or perfect.
Yeah, or perfect, I should say. So probably a better description. And there's a lot of things that are going on that you think, there's only so much I can ignore. The one big thing they got right was sticking with Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah, that was a big one.
But if they replace him with Gareth Southgate,
it would have been tough. It would have been a real oh shit, things aren't really going the direction we thought they were. But part of it is joining the modern world of football, isn't it? Because United have been so far behind. We've essentially been not just 10 years behind, but really teams in Spain and other countries were doing a lot of what we're doing in terms of the structure above the manager 20 years ago. Yeah. We're sort of 20 to 30 years behind in some areas. This sort of naming of stadiums, that's maybe we're sort of a decade behind. But we're kind of being brought up to the modern reality of football, which is a lot more business, a lot more selling your soul, and a lot more sort of penny pinching where it matters. And that's what he's bringing. And some of that I don't like because it represents things that I don't like in football. But some of it, you sort of, like you said, kind of have to get used to it a bit. I don't want us to be always pushing the limits of what is legal and what isn't. I don't want charges hanging over our heads for years on end like Man City have had. I want us to play within the rules and be a big team because we're successful. I don't want us to go so far into the modern world that we're buying players and spinning them around clubs and loans and this, that and the other to get around FFP constantly. But if it means a little bit of, it's called the Boeing Old Trafford, I can just about get behind it. Not get behind it, put up with it, I think.
The bot, as we'll call it.
Yeah, the bot.
Yeah, nice. I'll name this podcast later, who's been a member of the Academy for 6 months, says, Greenwood should have nothing to do with United. GBV is a real problem all over the world. What message are we sending as a club if we bring him back? Yeah. Also, Jay Moneyboy says, to be honest, we are not judges. I'll keep him and have Garnacho left, Højlund and Greenwood right. Side, he's better player than any right-wing players we could have. Let it be, we don't have money to buy players. So
someone just referred to Jim Ratcliffe as a right-wing player?
I don't know. I think that was talking about Mason Greenwood, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think, sorry, I was sort of flitting between different stories.
I've got something exciting to show you in a sec.
Okay.
MEN, do you know, like the modern era, people do a poll. They want to find out, they want to judge the sort of the tone of a fan base. Where would you typically do that? In 2024. You want to do a poll somewhere? Where are you doing it? You putting letters through people's letterboxes?
No, not in 2024.
Where are you going to do that usually?
Probably MySpace.
MySpace
is a good one.
Maybe even Twitter, something like that.
Twitter, yeah.
Because that way you can get loads of different people's opinions.
Facebook,
really
Twitter, Instagram.
Love it. Yeah. Well, MEN have done it a little bit differently. Because obviously with Twitter, the benefit of you get thousands of people to respond very quickly. People just click and then they move on. MEN have gone for a slightly more personal touch when it comes to Jarrad Branthwaite. So if we just bring the graphic up. So this is stay away from Branthwaite. No. Here it is. Some United fans are not pleased with the club's interest in Jarrad Branthwaite. The club are predicted to come in with a second bid. Some MEN readers have had their say on United's intrigue in the United fender. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Dave's, which Branthwaite is average at best. And then Ndoye says, agreed, leave well alone. So that's their poll sorted. What is Dave's in all caps?
Dave's?
So you think there's 3 people they've interviewed here? 2 of them are called Dave, who happen to just say the same thing at the same time. And the other one is called Ndoye, who's just said agreed. Yeah. What's that?
Right, this...
What's going on here?
The most bizarre article.
That's the full piece as well.
And why does he look like he's a 1960s footballer?
Yeah, he does.
Like, what is going on? What the fucking hell is going on? This is worse than your pun, Adam.
What's that?
Why is the headline "Stay away from Branthwaite"?
Yeah.
Right.
Even though neither of those
no
people
one
have
said that.
Yeah, that's
right?
a quote from someone that doesn't.
Also,
exist.
some United fans are not pleased on the club's injury.
Yeah.
That's fucking meaningless.
Yeah. Well, some aren't.
Yeah. Like,
I thought he was going to quote Stephen House.
Yeah, honestly, I've seen worse like that. That would have been better than this, to be fair.
Yeah.
Then you've got, like, obviously one line of relative facts.
Yeah.
And then, again, some MEN readers have had their say on United's intrigue in the England defender. I don't know what's going on here with that sentence.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Dave's Branthwaite is average at best. And then, somehow, Annie Eze has been the second person to comment and managed to get in straight after Dave's and gone, yeah, agreed.
But they're replying to Dave.
Yeah.
Who is Dave's?
And also, yeah.
Why is it in all caps as well? Like it's a sentient robot that's come alive, and it's like actually an acronym: Droid Activated Voice Echo Signal.
These are, I mean, Amy's here as well. Like, they don't have like Joe Smith and Jay and all that. Like, it's a bit.
It's just Dave's and A's, isn't it? Interesting, isn't it?
What the fuck is that?
But yeah, that was just saw that before I thought Jared like that.
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me of back in the day when it'd be like the football
back
pink.
in the Daves.
Nice.
Yeah.
You'd have the football pink, and that's how you used to have to voice your opinion. You write into them and say, look, I'm sick of blinking. I don't know. Who did we have? Neil Webb. He's no good. Get rid of him.
Not right, is it? Should we move on to our next proper story then?
Yeah,
Adam's had a little breather now. Central Defence Attorney. That's not bad, actually. I actually think that's all right. No? Don't love it? I was the one who was meant to be slagging him off. I said I thought he'd have a stinker tonight. You said you thought he'd be good.
Central Defence Attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. Like,
it works.
Yeah, it does. It does work. Yeah.
Defence attorney. That's like.
Yeah, that is a thing. Yeah, it's. Yeah, you know what? It's growing on me. Yeah. I think that's good actually. The more I say it, the more I like it. Yeah.
Because, and I'll tell you why it works. Because Ineos have hired Swiss lawyer Gianpaolo Montanari to plead before the Court of Arbitration for Sport in favour of the arrival of John Clare Todibo. According to Belgian journalists, we need to get into this, by the way. Sacha Tavioleri, okay. Ratcliffe is very keen to complete the transfer of Todibo and will contest the regulations put in place by hiring Montanari. Ratcliffe has already been handed a favour from the governing body by allowing both United and Nice to compete in the Europa League next season. However, the transfer between the two clubs under the same ownership has been strictly blocked. Now, this is coming out of a single source. You may have seen this online today. Sacha Tavolieri, which as far as I can make out is a bloke who sometimes contributes to RMC Sport, which is a French sort of publication. He's gone with this as an exclusive. This isn't him reporting someone else. This isn't him writing for an article as far as I can see. He has put this on his Twitter and tweeted this as an exclusive story to himself. You keep scrolling down, you'll find it in there. So I don't know anything about this guy. And when I tried to look him up, like I said, RMC Sport was the main publication that I see him linked with. He appears on TV in France. He's obviously a personality. I think he's got 100,000 followers on X. So he's someone that is of repute. But I don't know if he's reliable. I don't really know anything. And I see this story sort of going round and spiraling everywhere because, it's been said and it's a sort of juicy story. But I don't know if there's any truth in it. What do you make of it, Jay? Have you found the original tweet?
Sorry, I got distracted by him saying thank you for his 100,000 followers.
So there you go.
Exclusive. Ineos wants to complete the transfer. Yeah, wait and see. And he's hashtag Mercato. Possibly. I mean, with 100,000 followers, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he could break this story, especially if he's got connections to, the Swiss lawyer or whatever.
Yeah, and he's a French journalist as well, so he works in France at least, and obviously Todibo is French. And
he seems like, from his tweet, he seems quite relatively legit.
Yeah.
That's the trouble now with X, as it's called. Those blue ticks are meaningless, aren't they? Like, back in the day, you had a blue tick, it meant that you'd either been given one because you had quite a lot of followers and you were a prominent figure in some capacity or, well known for something, or you were, the sort of a journalist or an official person, where now it's just if you've got 10 quid a month. So I don't know. It's one of those where.
Do you think this is a bit unnecessary, all this? What do you make of the actual story itself?
If Ineos believe that Jean-Claude Todibo is the right player for Manchester United, then yeah, I think we should fight to get him. Let's say, for example, this is, I'm not saying he's going to be, but let's say it was Nemanja Vidic.
Yeah.
And we're going, well, we can't get him because he's already agreed to go to Fulham, but he doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
But maybe if we went to court, we might be able to get a thing. We go, nah, just leave it. Or would you go, no, let's do that. Let's try and get him. I'm not saying this kid's going to be as good as Vidic. Obviously, he's probably not going to be. But would you just walk away, or would you say, no, let's fight it and just at least try and do everything we can to get him? So I get the idea, and if it works in your favour and you get a player that ends up being a very good player for Manchester United, it's worth it. And if it doesn't, at least you tried everything.
Yeah.
It's at least worth trying.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to try and then they're going to go, no, and also, for punishment in trying, we're going to stop you for having any players from anyone for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit of there's nothing to lose by going for it.
It's a bit of a free hit.
Yeah, so you should do it. And also, I don't know, I think maybe, I mean, I don't know the man, but maybe Sir Jim Ratcliffe's a bit annoyed at this because it's like a negative for his ownership. It's like saying, because of you, we can't get a player we could have got. Yeah. And I think that might irk him a little bit because you might argue, well, it's only because of him we would get him. But I think Jean-Claude Todibo is a gettable player. If Ineos weren't involved in Manchester United and we wanted a player from Nice, we could probably get one. And if he's that guy, we've been linked with him for a long time, then that'd be him. So maybe Sir Jim Ratcliffe's a bit like, this is making me look like a bit of a knobhead because it's like, they can't get him because of me and we want him. So I need to try and make this happen. So I don't have people going, well, yeah, you've done great things here, but we couldn't get that. And especially if he goes and smashes it somewhere. Let's say he went to Madrid, just for example, and became like the next Varane. Yeah? And everyone go, we would have had him if it weren't for Ratcliffe. So I get it. It's, these billionaires, they've all got an ego, haven't they? Yeah. Let me know in the comments in the chat. Let me know what you think about Todibo as well. It's easy to just go, oh, I really love him. Have you actually watched him? Yeah. Is he the guy for you? Keon Thomas says 1.8k views and not even 300 likes. Someone else says my mic has gone, is that right?
Surely more than one person would be saying it.
Was. Akash K says, correction Jay, Todibo was a gettable player. Just saying he was, sorry. Also, Soka, aka the Devil, says, Ineos are minority shareholders at United. It shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That is an interesting point. I wonder if you could use that as part of the defence of what's the threshold by which we can't do it? Is it being on the board, maybe because that activates something? Or is it if Ineos had bought one share in Man City, now Man City can't buy anyone from Nice either? Do you know what I mean? This is a publicly traded football club. How many shares do you have to buy before your club can no longer own their club? What does part ownership truly mean? Maybe there's a number on that, or maybe there's a loophole there that they're trying to exploit in, basically saying, just because we own some of it, we're still a minority, we don't have control. The fact that, Todibo may come to Manchester United can be vetoed and ruled out by the Glazers still, therefore, you can't stop us doing it. I wonder if that's part of the angle that they're going to go down.
Yeah, it could be.
What are you looking at there?
I was trying to think, there was a player who, I thought it was Kenny Sampson, where they wanted him to go from one club to another, and he couldn't because it would have upset the fans. So he went to another club first and then went to the club that he wanted to go. But I don't think it is him. I think he might be getting it wrong.
So you're suggesting that Todibo maybe goes and we sell him to Lausanne or wherever Jim Ratcliffe also owns, who aren't playing in the Europa League, then we buy him from there?
Yeah, like a loophole.
Or we loan him from there?
Yeah.
But then you're treading on Man City territory with all this though, aren't you? Then it's going to be in 5 years' time, United get charged for Todibo transfer after it was ruled, bringing the game into disrepute.
Yeah,
just fucking do it properly.
I get you.
Either get it overturned in court, officially, sorted, done, or just move on. I can't be asked being a team where we're always looking over our shoulder because there's a lawyer holding a piece of paper trying to get in. Hide under the table, the lawyer's here. Yeah. I can't be asked with that. I want to be a proper football team, not some exercising, dodging lawyers.
Abhinav Verma, sorry, I must have missed this one earlier. Says, of all the names, Boeing, the airline that crashes. That's a good one.
Still by far the most reliable method of travel in the world, though, even with Boeing crashing a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
About
Okay.
planes.
Okay. I didn't know anything.
They had a
about
couple
that.
of issues with a couple of different models of plane.
Really?
Yeah, and there are rumours that some of the fixes that they put in, rumours, are slight corner cuts, and the checks aren't quite up to standard.
I shouldn't love it. It's not, but it's obviously horrendous. But like cutting corners on checking planes.
Well,
Surely
some
that's
of
not
some of the factories that they own,
Right.
there was rumours that they were using like lube, just lube on their hands to like play with toys and stuff, like to get the hands into like difficult to get to areas, and just weird stories. And they were like, we're going to just buy that factory and we'll sort it out, because these contractors. Anyway, it couldn't be more boring.
I tell you what.
But Boeing, when
yeah.
they do a Man United, they won't be cutting any corners like that.
Right.
And that if that stadium wants to fly off,
Yeah.
it should be able to.
Okay,
I can guarantee that much. We've got one more story.
That's good
Let's
to
move
know.
on. Adam, your grand finale today. What have you got?
Come on.
Ashton,
This is
hit
huge.
us. I really enjoyed that goal.
Is it instead of enjoyed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? Could be worse. It could be worse.
Yeah. It feels a bit like England versus Slovenia. Do you know what I mean? It's got the job done. We're
top
through.
of the group.
It's not one you're going to remember in about a week's time.
I'm not going to be buying the replay on DVD.
No, you're not.
I can tell you that
but
much.
It's not the end of the world.
He's got through. He's played it safe on his debut, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I like that. It's just.
I think
completely
you've pulled it back. You know, Adam.
Yeah.
I think you have. After that horrendous start.
Yeah.
Which it will go down in Stretford Paddock history as probably the worst pub we've ever had.
Yeah.
You've pulled it back to your overall performance being one that is satisfactory.
So just to recap, he accidentally wrote a bad pun about Rashford potentially going to Barcelona.
Yeah.
We then realised that there's no interest in Rashford from Barcelona. It was a story about PSG and Marcus Rashford. So for anyone who didn't see that, that's what happened there. Do you have a pun on the original proper PSG Rashford story? Do you have one in your head? Yeah.
Right now, no. In 3 weeks' time, obviously.
So Rashford and PSG have had some talks. Do you have a pun there that you could use? Go on. He's not got one. Come with one before the end of this story. Manchester United have tested the waters for Bologna winger Dan Ndoye. How many Bologna players can we be going for here? This is absolute baloney. According to Gianluca Di Marzio, the winger's performance against Germany at the Euros, in which he scored, was so impressive that United immediately took action. Fucking hell.
Right.
Do you know that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he's drinking and having a fag and he's pointing at the TV like, I'm looking. That was Jim Ratcliffe pointing at this guy. He had such a good performance that he immediately took action. He's got a little handheld phone on the little table next to his sofa, like a rom-com from the 90s. He immediately picks it up and goes, Bologna, chuck him in the deal with Xerxes. Immediately, Jay. He didn't even let the full-time whistle blow. Right, get him in. He was so good against Germany, I immediately need to get him. It's claimed that Old Trafford Chiefs reached out to Bologna to discuss terms for a potential deal. The forward, who scored only one league goal last season, cool, has already played for Ineos Group's Nice and Lausanne. Right, on what planet do you have a player that has played for two of the football clubs you own, and it takes him scoring a goal against Germany in the Euros to go, he's probably good enough for United, he is. Surely the years at the clubs you own was a better fucking test of how quality he is, or what quality he's got, should I say. This cannot be the scouting method at United. This is worse than just getting Ten Hag's mates in.
I won't mind as well. That's his only goal for Switzerland. So it's not like he's like... You've seen his one international goal on the back of a season where he scored one league goal after he's been at two of your other clubs and done okay, but not really done a lot, and decided to immediately sign him.
Hello? Seen the goal? Get him. Just get it. Get it done. Bye. Right. Back to ground
Hang
force.
on a minute.
God,
Eric, I've just signed you. You see that? Are you watching the Switzerland-Germany game?
Oh, yeah.
No, put it on. Yeah. You see the kid who's just scored?
Yeah.
We've just bought him.
Is he any good?
Hello? Oh, he's gone.
He's no good. No, he's been bang average for many
His career.
years in a row. But you could.
I'm not knocking the kid. He's
No,
done well
but
to a
come
certain
on.
level, but being having one goal in 14 Swiss caps doesn't mean you're ready for Manchester United. And also, there's this narrative going through a lot of papers and like reporters like that Sir Jim Ratcliffe makes these decisions and does these things on a whim from players he's noticed or seen. It's like Jim Ratcliffe is a big fan of, I don't know, Jonathan David. Yeah. After meeting him at the Formula One. Yeah. You're like, what?
Yeah, they love. Dan Ashworth loves Gareth Southgate. They've been friends for years. Yeah. So he's just going to be the new United manager, is he?
He can't get a result against the likes of Denmark and Slovenia. Yeah. But we're just going to give him the keys to the biggest job in football.
But also, the suggestion being that we only sign people who are our mates. And that Dan Ashworth, because he's slightly friendly with Gareth Southgate, can't help but give him the biggest job in football. Oh, it's annoying. I would rather go with someone who's qualified or who's actually good, who's actually done this before. But I did have a good chat with Gareth Southgate at a mutual friend's wedding, so I probably should give him the job, really, shouldn't I? It's like giving someone a little parking ticket on the way out. It's just general courtesy. That's not how you fucking hire people. And if that is how they hire people, we're fucked.
Also as well, right, some point in our lives and in these discussions, logic has to play a part, right? Dan Ashworth hasn't succeeded in his job and every job he's been at by being fucking clueless, right? Oh, yeah. He just hasn't. He hasn't. He hasn't got to the point where Manchester United and Newcastle United are fighting over him, and Newcastle United are demanding the most money ever for a director of football in the history of this game because he's shit. He's obviously very good, and anyone watching Gareth Southgate England knows full well he's not good enough for United. So do you think Dan Ashworth just completely off his fucking head? Sat there dropping acid at home going, get a fucking Gareth Southgate in.
He's my mate.
Yeah, I met him in 2018 and he was mint. Obviously not. He's just going, no, do a fuck on Gareth Southgate. That's not going to be the first thing I do when I take over at United. That'd be fucking insane.
It is so mental.
But everyone, including me, has gone, oh, fucking hell, we can't do that. No. Well, he won't.
Like, the only 3 people on the planet who think that Gareth Southgate is good enough to manage Man United, because I don't think Gareth does, are Jim Ratcliffe, Dan Ashworth, and Dave Brailsford. It just so happens that the stupidest people on the planet are the 3 that own and run Manchester United.
Right.
Of course not.
Someone tweeted a week ago, saying, like, I can't believe some United fans wanted Gareth Southgate as United manager.
Those fans don't exist.
And I said that. I said, like, this is not true. No United fans wanted Gareth Southgate as manager. And you know how the kid proved that I was wrong?
It wasn't Dave's from the MAN.
He quoted himself. What? Fucking saying, I'd have Gareth Southgate United. There you go. I'll prove you wrong, Jay.
That sums up Twitter so perfectly. Can't believe some United fans wanted Southgate. And the only one who did
was him.
Yeah. That's so
I was like, oh my God, is that... Well, you've shown me up. And there you go. You win.
Perfect,
like, Dan Ashworth doesn't want Gareth Southgate at Manchester United because Dan Ashworth watches football and he's fully aware of Gareth Southgate's limitations. Gareth Southgate is a decent international manager, sort of. Yeah. He's nowhere near good enough to be a Premier League manager, let alone managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. No, it's just not fucking happening, honestly. So I don't believe for 1 minute that Dan Ashworth wants Gareth Southgate, and I don't believe for 1 minute that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was watching Switzerland versus Germany, saw this kid get a goal and rang up fucking, I don't know, Jason Wilcox and said, make that deal happen.
That's like, do you know when someone's stoned and you're watching an advert and it's the Magnum advert and you immediately just go to Spar and buy a Magnum, like, because you're so stoned and I'm starving, look how nice that Magnum looks, I'm getting that. Like, it's just gone, oh fucking hell, look how good he is, I'm getting that. No, he's not a stoner with the munchies who's just fucking ringing up below you, oh that looked great, I'm signing him. That isn't the model. That's not what anyone does. Oh, those fucking Doritos look so good. I'm nipping out. That's not how we sign players, Jay. This is bollocks, isn't it? Right, we've got to wrap it up. This is getting crazy.
Do you know, it's just outrage sells, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
See, you go, United are fucking going to appoint Gareth Southgate and sell Kobe Mainoo and fucking burn down Old Trafford after we've called it the Aldi Arena. And we're like, oh, fucking hell, I can't believe we're going to do that. Yeah. We're not doing any of those things. Yeah. It's just fucking nonsense. Anyway, big thank you tonight for everyone who got involved in the comments and the chat. Oh, Santa Notch is in there. He's been a member of the academy for 47 months. Santa Notch is part of the fucking family in Santa Notch. He says, let me sort this for Adam. Can they baguette a move for Rashford?
That's not bad, actually. Have you got one, Adam? That was his. That
Oh,
was Adam's,
in that
him and Notch were in cahoots.
Coincidence.
It is.
It really was. We'll be back in the morning with the news from here at 11:15. Also tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have Off the Bar, me, him, Makola, Howson. So make sure, if you're not doing already, you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Go and check him out on the Sloppy Joe's podcast. You know where to find me as well. I've been Jay Marty. That's been Joe Smith. This has been Transfers Live. That's been producer Adam.
Well done, Adam.
Thanks for watching.